Hi, shalom friends. In his book, Living on the Edge, Rabbi Goldwasser relates a very, very moving encounter he had. He was giving a lecture in Johannesburg, South Africa, and after his lecture there were questions and answers, and there was a sickly-looking young woman in the back who raised her hands and uncharacteristically asked him a question that took him back. She asked, "If I die, will my parents forgive me?" He was shocked, because life and death is not actually in the hands of a person, and if she's contemplating death, does that mean she's thinking of suicide? And he wasn't sure what to say. And so he said, "Huh?" And she repeated the question. "If I die, will my parents forgive me?" And in his words, Hashem put the words in my mouth. And I asked her, and I said, "Do your parents love you?" She said emphatically, "Yes, very much." So he said, "Well, if they truly love you, as a rule, people that love other people do everything possible to see them in the best light. So I could assume that your parents will forgive you. However, my question is, will your children forgive you?" And she said, "Rabbi, I'm not married." And he said, "Yes, but that's what I'm asking. Because when you were sent down to this world, your future destiny included the souls that you will bring into the world when you're married. If you choose to die, your parents will forgive you. But what are you going to say to those souls in heaven who will look at you and say, 'Why did you not allow us the privilege of living?'" When he told her that, she began to cry, and there seemed to be some type of a catharsis, and later on they had a very long conversation. It would seem that she had a severe eating disorder. She had no appetite, and she refused to go to therapy. And the doctors were saying that internally she was shutting down. But now that the rabbi put it in such a perspective that there are children that she has to be concerned about, the possibility of bringing down new souls, this sort of made her rethink, and eventually there's a happy ending that with therapy she started to become healthy again. I find the story quite moving and very, very beneficial, because to me, in addition to the meaning of the story, it sort of helps resolve a paradox. And the paradox is that each and every one of us is taught, and it should be emphasized, that what we possess, no one else possesses. Our talents are gifts from God. And even if we think we're ordinary, we have to believe we're uniquely ordinary. Meaning God does not give out carbon copies. So what I possess and what I'm capable of offering, no one else can. So here I have this very healthy self-esteem, a sense of individualism, and then much of life is learning to be what they call in English a team player, to work with a group, to see myself part of a community, to see myself maybe as a citizen of a great nation. And I'm thinking to myself, here I am, I'm so important and so wonderful and so valuable. Why should I just overlook all of those talents for the sake of what? Merging? Being not standing out? This dilemma is solved in the most beautiful way in the Orthodox Jewish tradition of a minyan. Many of you might know that to say certain prayers, and as a community, you need 10 male adults over the age of 13. So 8 great rabbis, 9 great rabbis do not equal a minyan, the quorum necessary. 10 shoemakers can. So to a certain extent, every time there are 9 people in the synagogue waiting for the 10th, it makes no difference to them whether that 10th is learned or ignorant, whether that 10th person who's going to complete the quorum is learned, pious. Where the attitude is, we're all equal. So if a 13-and-a-half-year-old boy walks in, all of the 70 plus people applaud. Okay, Rabbi, you could start the service. We have a minyan. No one feels insulted that we're counting a 13-and-a-half-year-old boy with the same value as a 75-year-old accomplished scholar. So the minyan reminds us of how equal we are. And yet, a remarkable thing unfolds. Each one says his own prayer. So the 13-and-a-half-year-old boy might be saying the words in Hebrew without understanding them. In fact, he might not even be able to read the Hebrew. Maybe he's just glancing in the English. And perhaps that 75-year-old scholar is putting his heart and soul into every syllable. But they're doing it as part of a community, as part of a minyan. To put it in slightly different terms, instead of seeing the individual versus the community, understand that the community emphasizes the individual. As if to say, when can your individual talent become revealed? Precisely and paradoxically, when you're together with a group. The group won't equal you in any way whatsoever. You will still retain your individual qualities. But how will your individual qualities be revealed? When you find something in common with all. So because we made the minyan, now we could have the 10 people, each one praying with his own intention and his own feeling. When we think about the Jewish people, the Jewish nation, we are blessed. We have intellectuals, we have emotional giants, we have philanthropists, we have extraordinary people, and we also have ordinary people. In fact, we even have people of lesser caliber. The beauty of the Jewish people is that when we get a chance to reveal our inner resources, when we actually combine together as Klal Yisrael, the nation of Israel. During this month, which is a preparation for the new year, we have to work simultaneously, both in affiliating and merging with the greater whole, and by doing so, we'll be able to shine in our individual way. Shalom.